I've travelled far, I've wandered wide, seen the Hudson and the Clyde, caught the Bile of Lomond side, but I knew the borders. Oh, when I die, bury me low, where I can hear the bonny tweed flow, a sweeter place I'll never know than the rolling hills of the borders. As I stroll by the day, but all its beauty fades away among the hills of the borders. Oh, when I die, bury me low, where I can hear the bonny tweed flow, a sweeter place I'll never know than the rolling hills of the borders. Place o' mind, bonny lasses there you'll find, and men sisterly it's a kind, among the hills of the borders. Oh, when I die, bury me low, where I can hear the bonny tweed flow, a sweeter place I'll never know than the rolling hills of the borders. Wandered wide, seen the Hudson and the Clyde, caught the Bile of Lomond side, but I knew the borders. Oh, when I die, bury me low, where I can hear the bonny tweed flow, a sweeter place I'll never know than the rolling hills of the borders.
I first came across that song unusually, I think, in terms of the songs that I tend to get hold of. Sitting at a festival up in Scotland, a fantastic little festival called Knockengorrick, which is a kind of a rather crazy affair. But sitting around a fire, and every night there were kind of sessions going on and on and on, and a few people who I've got to know since from that place were sitting around playing the songs, and that was one of them, and it kind of stuck out. I've been told by a few people that there are parts of it that have been lifted from other traditional songs, as is the common way of kind of folk songwriting. But no, it's a song by Matt McGinn, who was very much a bloke who dealt with traditional material and wrote a lot of his own songs as well. So there's an overlap with his kind of songwriting in general. But no, it was a song written by Matt McGinn.
It's full of nostalgia for your homeland. A lot of your songs seem to have this theme, but you don't live in Scotland at the moment, do you?
No, I don't. That's probably where nostalgia comes in, isn't it? It's funny because it has a yearning for the kind of borders and the lovely rolling green hills of the borders and so on. In fact, Matt McGinn was a man from Chorlton in Glasgow. Well, if you've been to Chorlton in Glasgow, it's about as far as the rolling hills of the borders you can get. But so that wasn't his kind of homeland, if you like. But I guess that theme probably kind of comes through in my music to a degree. I sing a lot of Scottish songs, and I think that there's a lot of Scottish songs that are about the kind of a nostalgic glance back to Scotland from expats, because there are a hell of a lot of Scots who have emigrated over the years to the New World, to England and so on. So I guess these kind of songs come up often in the kind of repertoire that I sing. came to the guitar late, and singing not quite so late, but fairly late, you know. Piano I played from the age of 4, something like that, 4 or 5, very young. And I can arrange between periods of being mad about piano and playing it huge amounts and then dropping out and not playing it. And I also range between classical and jazz, writing my own stuff on the piano and all that kind of stuff. But latterly jazz was a big avenue. It's interesting. I mean, I notice these things come up when I'm speaking to other musicians, for instance, who play the violin or the flute, or you know, these kind of things, or who sing. The piano and the guitar are fundamentally kind of harmony instruments, if you like. You know, you're holding on down chords, or at least several notes, and that has always been a fascination of mine. Is the harmonic aspect of music as well as the melodic. And that was a lot of what drew me into jazz, was these really interesting heaped up chords, you know, dense kind of chords. And I still pursue a lot of that in my guitar playing. Interesting sounding chords, interesting harmonies that are kind of sitting underneath the vocals.
Another thing that's evident in a lot of your songs is a need to speak up for the downtrodden and victims of injustice. I was thinking of your song, Joe Glenton in particular. Do your political views affect your songwriting and songs that you choose to sing?
Yeah, they definitely do, yeah. They do affect the songs I sing. I would say they affect the songs that everybody sings.
So after 2 years of service in Colchester barracks, transporting bullets and shells through the ranks ran a murmur as the orders were given. Excitement rose and it fell. But as they descended to Kandahar city, a grim silence fell over the plain. Shots of mortars rang in the distance like threats from a sky turning grey. Joe Glenton, he has been sentenced, refusing to fight and to kill. The sharp eyes of the judge and the cold cuffs were on it. He was led away to the jail.
I've always thought there's kind of something almost intrinsic of folk music. Not something intrinsically overtly political, but there's something intrinsic to folk music that speaks out for the common people. You know, it's music of the people, after all. So it's natural that in our folk repertoire, themes of injustice or hardship or hard living or having to deal with the kind of everyday struggles in life should kind of come out. And I'm trying to kind of go towards that in my songwriting as well. I think there's lots of different ways to reach lots of different audiences, and you know, sometimes in the way of punk or these kind of protest genres, bludgeoning people can be fairly effective. You know, sometimes there was a fantastic quote I remember hearing from Dick Gaughan. And he said that singing a lot of these political songs is like fighting a guerrilla war. You kind of get in there and fire your shots and then get out there as quick as you can, and it just sparks off ideas in people's minds they perhaps don't even know are there. So I kind of like that idea, and that's different. I think there are different ways of going about it. I do prefer to tell stories as well as putting through some kind of message or having some kind of social context to the story. So I think stories are often a bit more subtle.